we have Sunil Prabhu joining us on this breaking news that more rules are being brought in to ensure the security of the parliament is updated. Remember that there was a massive security breach in the parliament today when two men jumped from the Lok Sabha gallery to the chamber of the Lok Sabha. It led to a lot of confusion, led to a lot of chatter, and has raised many questions on the security of the parliament. My colleague Sunil Prabhu joins us with the latest on this. Sunil, what is the we saw the Lok Sabha speaker reach out to floor leaders and give them a sense of assurance that there will be a probe and the matter will be investigated thoroughly. But what kind of rules are being put in place to ensure that there is some reassurance?
Well, as you rightly pointed out, a probe is already underway. A joint intelligence committee is interrogating all those people as well as those accomplices who were responsible for these unfortunate incidents. This is a major security breach that Parliament has witnessed on, after 2001, now in 2020. Parliament has witnessed similar incidents, especially, and all parties cutting across party lines were saying that when you have such very clear inputs in terms of intelligence, how could such an incident and precautions not have taken place? So 3 or 4 important points that have developed from this all-party meeting. One is that there will now be a separate entrance for members of parliament. They have been for a long time saying, and many of these MPs have said, I told you so. Right from the day when there was a special session in parliament, when the women who were especially invited were shouting slogans there, which was really unbecoming, and opposition had objected at that time to those scenes that had taken place. It's in the same backdrop now that visitors will not be allowed temporarily till, of course, certain safeguards are made. What will happen is that there will be a glass casing, just like in COVID times, to ensure that nobody can jump into parliament anymore. So there will be a glass casing from the visitors gallery side. The other will be a separate entrance for the media as well as for the staff. Their body scanners will now be installed. One would have thought that their body scanners were already there, but surprisingly, it hasn't been installed yet in 21st century's parliament. And so that's another thing that will be done. And another, of course, is more and watch staff. What was most appalling today was that members of parliament took it upon themselves to protect they try to remember the intrusion that taken place, but the watch staff were a few and a little, and it's in that backdrop that they ensured that the speaker has assured that there will be more staff. So a lot of corrective measures. Parliament is not going to be the same. A lot of lessons to be learned, and this is definitely a major security breach, a major security lapse. Heads must roll. The custodian of parliament is the speaker, and he is morally responsible for whatever has happened on today because it's under his jurisdiction. Earlier, there used to be a deputy speaker. We haven't had a deputy speaker in this Lok Sabha. The deputy speaker used to be in charge of security. It's been 4.5 years. Constitution of India says there shall be, and it doesn't use the may. It shall be a deputy speaker who looks after and helps the speaker. But for 4.5 years, we're now entering the final phase of the Lok Sabha, and we haven't seen a deputy speaker being elected. And so that's definitely a clear sign of a security lapse, that you don't have a dedicated senior presiding officer to look after the security aspect.
One of the most Sunil, hang on. One of the most important questions that the opposition is asking is how did these people manage to spend more than 45 minutes? We all know that visitors are ushered in and they are ushered out. There is this one entry and exit gate for them. They enter and within 1 hour they are out. But, these people seem to have spent much more time. So I wanted to ask you, what are the valid questions that the opposition is asking, something that the government should also take note of?
That's but not only the government. I mean, it's an all party. I mean, all parties today cutting across party lines. Mr. Kalyan. How did these members of parliament, the person who helped them, Pratap Simha, the member of parliament from Mysore, he should be questioned. I spoke to him and he very categorically said that he will be meeting the speaker as well as explaining to him as well as the parliamentary affairs, and then he'll give a statement. But nevertheless, the fact of the matter is that these are unfortunate incidents that have taken place. These are, as they say, some members of parliament calling it a terrorist attack because this was a pre-planned conspiracy. This was not one or two. This was around 6 of them all together. And this is now a matter of investigation, which will have to get to the bottom of it on how such an incident took place on a temple of democracy when there was so much of security inputs. They would say that such incidents take place. Even then, you could see with such impunity, they were bursting smoke canisters. What was the Delhi police doing? There are multiple agencies in parliament from the Special Protection Group. And mind you, Vasudha, these are being paid thousands of crores of taxpayers' money. And if you can't protect and secure the temple of democracy, I mean, just look at the SPG's 3,500 security
forces. So that's a very interesting point. Yes. Because I was looking at the QRT teams today, the commandos, the CRPF commandos, and, I was reminded of the 2001 attack and, all the corrective measures that were put in place after 2001, and the QRT was one of them. So clearly, that's an interesting point that you make, that despite all these agencies, despite Delhi police, despite intelligence, yes, of course, this has been a major breach. But the person at the center of this controversy, someone called Pratap Simha from Karnataka, you've covered Karnataka elections really well. Tell us something about, Pratap Simha as an MP, and also there are protests in Mysuru happening, right? So how is this playing out politically?
So I did speak to him, Pratap Simha, and as I said, he will give an explanation. He's a former journalist and he's a two-time MP. Definitely, to be fair to him and in the fitness of things, many members of parliament signed for the visitors gallery without greater scrutiny. But nevertheless, they will now become more circumspect. And the Trinamool Congress has pointed out today, if Maitro can be called anti-national, what is this act? So definitely a lot of questions to be asked. This is, of course, politics being played. This is election time. Everybody will want to make their political point. But I think what is really...
Right. Okay. Yes. So that was Sunil Prabhu, my colleague, updating us on the new corrective measures that the Lok Sabha Secretariat is all set to put in place. There will be designated entries and exits for MPs. There'll be more personnel to look at, to examine, have checks on visitors who are visiting the parliament. Remember that this is the first full session of the parliament happening in the new parliament complex, and also the last before the big Lok Sabha elections of 2024. But what really happened today? Who are these two people? And how did this entire security breach play out? Remember that there were two separate incidents, one outside the parliament in the lawns that are next to Transport Bhavan, right in front of the parliament. And there's, of course, one that happened in the Lok Sabha where two men jumped from the gallery to the seating area, which is the chambers of the Lok Sabha. One of them was running towards the well before he was apprehended by a group of 7 MPs. So clearly a massive security breach on the day India, is paying tributes and honoring those people who died in the horrific parliament attack that happened in 2001. But what really happened today? Let's look at this report.
सभा की कार्यवाही 2 बजे तक के लिए स्थगित की जाती है।
A shocking security breach in Parliament on the anniversary of the 2001 Parliament terror attack. 2 incidents involving 4 persons, both inside and outside the highly secured Parliament complex. At 1:02 p.m., Khagan Murmu, first-time BJP MP from Malda North in Bengal, was addressing the House during the 0 hour. 2 men, both carrying smoke canisters, emitting yellow smoke, jumped from the visitors' gallery and ran into the Lok Sabha chamber. The House CCTV system showed one man wearing a dark blue shirt leaping across desks to evade capture, while the second was in the visitors gallery spraying smoke. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi and Union Ministers Hardeep Singh Puri and Anupriya Patel were present at the time. Both men were overpowered by MPs and security staff. Plumes of yellow smoke could be seen all over the Lok Sabha. The two men involved in the daring attack were identified as Manoranjan and Sagar Sharma, who got their visitors pass in the name of MP Pratap Simha.
Suddenly, two people from the visitors gallery jumped into the house.
यहाँ पे आते हैं विजिटर्स हो चाहे रिपोर्टर्स हो बिकॉज वी डोंट नो कि किसी के टैग्स नहीं है रिपोर्टर्स के सो एवरीबॉडी इज लाइक यू नो एक दूसरे से टकराते हुए जाते हैं तो आई थिंक सो गवर्नमेंट को ध्यान देना चाहिए।
पब्लिक गैलरी से दो लोग कूद गए और एकदम से धुआं जो है वो उठने लगा, अफरा तफरी मच गई, लेकिन उन दोनों लोगों को पकड़ लिया गया है।
BJP member Rajendra Agarwal, who was in the chair, adjourned the proceedings till 2 p.m. as soon as the disruption happened. Even as the security was trying to grapple with this breach, details emerged of another breach just about 10 minutes ago around 12:50 p.m. Two other individuals, a man and a woman, were detained outside Parliament, also with coloured smoke canisters that exploded and spewed red and yellow smoke. The man and woman have been identified as 25-year-old Amol Shinde and 42-year-old Neelam. Delhi police sources tell NDTV that the two incidents are likely related.
मैं इस वक्त सीन ऑफ क्राइम के ठीक सामने हूँ, संसद भवन के सामने, और ये जगह आप देख सकते हैं, ये लाल रंग की जो केमिकल है, इसको सिक्योरिटी ऑफिशियल्स यहाँ पर कलेक्ट करने के लिए आए हैं और इस सैंपल को यहाँ से लिया जा रहा है। ये घटना 12:30 बजे हुई, लेकिन काफी देर से यहाँ पर जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन ऑफिशियल्स हैं वो यहाँ पर आए हैं, उन्होंने यहाँ पे सैंपल्स लिए हैं इन केमिकल्स की।
At 2 p.m. when the House resumed, the Lok Sabha Speaker shared details on the investigation.
प्रारंभिक जांच के अंदर जो प्रारंभिक जांच आए वो दोनों लोग पकड़ लिए गए हैं, उनकी सारी सामग्री को जब्त कर लिया गया है और जो दो लोग बाहर थे उनको भी गिरफ्तार कर लिया गया है।
A massive security breach on the 22nd anniversary of the terror attack on Parliament brought back dark memories of 2001. In fact, hours earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Draupadi Murmu led a tribute to the 9 security personnel who were killed. With bureau inputs in New Delhi, this is Maria Shakil.
So who were this Sagar Sharma and also Manoranjan, who basically have been detained by Delhi police? These were the people who had intruded into the parliament and caused this massive security breach. Remember, there was a separate incident outside the parliament where two people again protested, and they also have been detained by Delhi police. My colleague Mukesh joins us with more details on this. Mukesh, ये जो लोग हैं, 4 लोग, क्या ये सब एक ही गैंग के पार्ट थे और इनका मोटिव क्या था?
देखिए, मोटिव तो अब तक साफ नहीं है क्योंकि सभी 4 लोगों से पूछताछ चल रही है और चारों लोग बार बार अपने स्टेटमेंट चेंज कर रहे हैं। तो अभी जब बाकी लोग पकड़े जाएंगे तब इसमें पूरा मोटिव साफ होगा कि आखिर ये लोग यहाँ पर क्यों आए थे और इस तरह से पार्लियामेंट में क्यों घुसे। लेकिन जो 4 लोग पकड़े गए हैं, 2 लोग पार्लियामेंट के अंदर और 2 लोग पार्लियामेंट के बाहर, उनका सोशल मीडिया जो प्रोफाइल है वो देखा गया है। उससे ये जानकारी मिली है कि ये चारों लोग सोशल मीडिया पर एक दूसरे के संपर्क में थे। इन लोगों ने प्लानिंग की और प्लानिंग करने के बाद ये गुरुग्राम में आए। गुरुग्राम में विक्की शर्मा नाम के शख्स के यहाँ ये लोग रुके और आज सुबह सभी 5 लोग, जिसमें ललित झा शामिल है, सभी 5 लोग पार्लियामेंट के पास आए। 2 लोग पार्लियामेंट के अंदर गए और 2 लोग पार्लियामेंट के बाहर रहे और 2 के ग्रुप में दोनों ग्रुप के लोगों ने पार्लियामेंट के अंदर और बाहर हंगामा किया। तो इसमें जांच में ये बात सामने आई है कि जो ललित झा, जो कि 5वां आरोपी इस केस में, ललित झा भी पार्लियामेंट के बाहर मौजूद था और उसने पूरा वीडियो शूट किया जब ये लोग हंगामा कर रहे थे। लेकिन जैसे ही पुलिस ने पार्लियामेंट के बाहर से 2 लोगों को पकड़ा, उसी दौरान ललित सभी 4 लोगों के मोबाइल लेकर भाग गया है। तो ललित झा की तलाश जारी है क्योंकि उसके पास चारों लोगों के मोबाइल फोन है, उसकी तलाश की जा रही है। इसके अलावा गुरुग्राम में पुलिस ने छापेमारी की है। गुरुग्राम के सेक्टर 7 से विक्की शर्मा को डिटेन किया गया है, उसकी पत्नी को डिटेन किया गया है क्योंकि सभी 5 आरोपी कल रात में बीती रात में उसी के यहाँ रुके थे। तो उसके यहाँ भी उससे पूछताछ की जा रही है, उसको डिटेन किया गया है। अब तक ये साफ नहीं हो पाया है कि इनका मोटिव क्या है, लेकिन मोटिव जो भी हो, लेकिन ये तय है कि इन लोगों ने प्लानिंग को बहुत ही शातिर तरीके से अंजाम दिया है। इन लोगों ने आज का दिन चुना जब पार्लियामेंट के हमले की बरसी थी, उस दिन को चुना गया। एक जो एमपी हैं उनको चुना गया, उनके जरिए पास हासिल किए गए और फिर ये लोग बड़े शातिराना अंदाज में पार्लियामेंट के अंदर दाखिल हो गए और इनको जो एक्ट वहाँ पर करना था वो एक्ट करने में कामयाब हो गए। तो कुल मिलाकर पुलिस अभी इन सभी से पूछताछ कर रही है और जो मोटिव है उसको इस्टेब्लिश करने की कोशिश कर रही है। ये भी बात सामने आई है कि अभी तक की जांच के हिसाब से ये लोग किसी संगठन से नहीं जुड़े हुए हैं, लेकिन क्या इनके पीछे कोई और लोग हैं, इसको लेकर अभी जांच की जा रही है। क्योंकि जिस तरह से ये लोग लगातार प्लानिंग कर रहे थे और आज के दिन का चुनाव किया, ऐसा लगता है कि इनके पीछे कोई ना कोई है जिसको लेकर इनसे पूछताछ की जा रही है। सबसे अहम इन 4 लोगों के मोबाइल फोन है जो कि ललित झा लेकर भाग गया है, उसकी तलाश की जा रही है।
मुकेश, इनके जो प्रोफाइल्स हैं, इनके बैकग्राउंड्स हैं, ये कैसे लोग थे? थोड़ा जैसे एक तो ये बात है कि चारों यूथ्स थे, राइट, लाइक ये युवा लोग थे और जिस तरह के स्लोगन्स रेस कर रहे थे, मुझे लग रहा है कि शायद एक्टिविज्म से जुड़े होंगे। थोड़ा ये बताइए कि क्या पुलिस को कोई जानकारी मिली है इनके बैकग्राउंड के बारे में, क्या पढ़ रहे थे, कहाँ नौकरी कर रहे थे? क्योंकि कई रिपोर्ट्स ऐसे भी सजेस्ट कर रहे हैं कि इनमें से शायद एक सिविल सर्विसेज की तैयारी भी कर रहा था।
देखिए, जो नीलम है जो कि हरियाणा की रहने वाली है, वो काफ़ी पढ़ी लिखी है, वो पीजी कर रही है। और दूसरा जो आरोपी है मनोरंजन डी, जो कि मैसूर का रहने वाला है, उसने कंप्यूटर साइंस से बी किया है। इसमें जो तीसरा आरोपी है लखनऊ के आलमबाग का रहने वाला सागर शर्मा, वो रिक्शा पुलर है, पढ़ा लिखा नहीं है, वो प्रोटेस्ट में शामिल होने आया था, ऐसा कहा जा रहा है। और जो चौथा आरोपी है उसके बारे में अभी जानकारी ली जा रही है कि उसका पूरा बैकग्राउंड क्या है, उसके बारे में और डिटेल लिए जा रहे हैं। उसका नाम अमोल शिंदे है, वो महाराष्ट्र का रहने वाला है। तो ज़्यादातर आरोपी इसमें पढ़े लिखे हैं, लेकिन जो लखनऊ का सागर शर्मा है उसके बारे में कहा जा रहा है कि वो रिक्शा पुलर है और वो पढ़ा लिखा नहीं है। तो दिल्ली पुलिस जो आरोपी हैं उनका पूरा बैकग्राउंड खंगाल रही है। अलग अलग जगहों पर जो पुलिस की टीम्स हैं उनको भेजा गया है, चाहे वो महाराष्ट्र हो, चाहे वो मैसूर हो, चाहे वो लखनऊ हो, सभी जगहों पर दिल्ली पुलिस की टीम गई है और आरोपियों का जो पूरा बैकग्राउंड है उसको देखा जा रहा है। और ये भी देखा जा रहा है कि क्या इस पूरे हंगामे के पीछे क्या कोई इसके पीछे है, क्या किसी ने ये करवाया है और क्या ये सभी लोग एक्टिविस्ट हैं या फिर इनकी मंशा कुछ और थी, कुछ और करने आए थे, इसको लेकर पूरी जांच की जा रही है। लेकिन सबसे अहम बात ये है कि जिस तरह की स्मोक गन ये अंदर लेकर गए थे पार्लियामेंट के अंदर, अगर उस स्मोक में कोई जहरीला केमिकल होता या कोई बायोलॉजिकल वेपन होता तो पार्लियामेंट के अंदर काफ़ी बड़ा नुकसान हो सकता था। लेकिन राहत की बात यह रही कि उसमें केवल स्मोक था जो कि पीले रंग का था और उससे किसी को नुकसान नहीं हुआ।
Right. Thank you, Mukesh, for joining us with those details. So today, like Mukesh said, is also the 22nd anniversary of the horrific attack that happened in the parliament in 2001. We all remember the hanging of Afzal Guru and also the trial of Shaukat Hussain, and also how the relations between India and Pakistan really went on a decline after that. But more so, the questions that 2001 attack raised on the vulnerability of the Indian parliament and the care that we need to take when it comes to security. Security cannot be taken for granted. That was one major learning from that attack. But clearly, there's a lot more that needs to be done. Today, MPs were all worried when I went to the parliament. Many of them had a lot to say. Let's look at some of the reactions. First one is from Nageshwar Rao, who is an MP from BRS. He also attended the floor meeting that was called by the Speaker, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. He had called all the floor leaders today to reassure them that a probe will be conducted to understand what really happened, at what level did this lapse occur, and a number of security corrective measures will be put in place.
to one of the member of parliament who was inside. So first of all, can you please tell me your name and what happened inside? Were you there when this incident took place?
Nageshwar Rao, I am the BRS member. Actually अभी स्पीकर का साथ मीटिंग भी कंप्लीट हुआ था, ऑल पार्टी लीडर्स का साथ मीटिंग हुआ था. वो मीटिंग में जो है ना, जो भी आज जो घटना हुआ है उसका बारे में काफी डिटेल में डिस्कस करना किया था. इस तरह से सिक्योरिटी लैब्स पहले जो एग्जैक्टली 22 इयर्स का पहले जो घटना हुआ था, वो घटना जो ना आउटसाइड द पार्लियामेंट हुआ है, और ये जो घटना हुआ है इनसाइड द हाउस में हुआ है. जो भी जो है ना नया बिल्डिंग जो पार्लियामेंट बनाया था, उसका गैलरी से कूदने का स्कोप काफी है, बहुत ज्यादा जो है ना डिफरेंस नहीं है. एक्चुअली वो एडवांटेज जो है ना आज वो बंदा ने ले लिया है. कौन इसको पास दे दिया है, वो लोग कौन है, ये सब भी जो है ना स्पीकर साहब ने हम लोगों को बता दिया है. उसमें जो है ना एक सागर शर्मा बोल के, मनोरंजन बोल के, ये दोनों तो इनसाइड में है और आउटसाइड में कुछ लोग है. इसका पीछे बैकग्राउंड क्या है, अगर एक तरह से मीडिया में आप लोग भी जो है ना मीडिया का साथ बता दिया था एक हफ्ता से 13 तारीख को कुछ ना कुछ होगा, मगर मीडिया भी कुछ न्यूज तो लाया था.
सर अभी क्या स्पीकर साहब ने बोला है कि अभी अब खबर आ रही थी कि जो फॉर्मर पार्लियामेंटेरियंस है या जो करंट एमपीज हैं उनका स्टाफ अंदर नहीं जा पाएगा, दर्शकों को अंदर नहीं. इज देयर एनी क्वेश्चन ऑन द सेशन एज वेल? सेशन पूरा चलेगा मिस्टर राव?
नहीं, सेशन तो चलेगा, बट उसमें तो वो डिफरेंट इश्यू है. मगर आज घटना जो हुआ है, अगर स्पीकर का पीएस और पीएस का वो तो अलग बात है, मगर जो घटना हुआ है वो बहुत सीरियस मुद्दा है. जो इनसाइड का जो ना पार्लियामेंट हाउस में जो आया है उसका बारे में ज्यादा चिंतित है. और वो सेफ्टी सिक्योरिटी का बारे में जरूर जो है ना, अभी सेफ्टी सिक्योरिटी के बारे में बहुत तो ऑलमोस्ट 40% ऑफ जो है ना सिक्योरिटी स्टाफ अभी पार्लियामेंट में जो है ना खाली पड़ा हुआ है. ये सब भी जो है ना डिस्कशन हुआ था. जरूर जो है ना वो सब मुद्दा जो उठाया था सब उसको जो है ना सीरियसली लेके, जो घटना में प्रिलिमिनरी इंक्वायरी जो हुआ था उसका बारे में जो है ना नाम वगैरह स्पीकर साहब ने बताया.
आप मिस्टर राव और आपके जो साथी हैं पार्लियामेंट के अंदर और अदर एमपीज, आर यू वरीड? इज देयर अ सेंस ऑफ वरी?
डेफिनेटली. अभी तो देखिए टेक्नोलॉजी काफी जो है ना बढ़ गया है, और ये टेक्नोलॉजी में अगर मान लीजिए ऐसा कुछ कोई भी चीज अगर अंदर जो है ना कूदने का है, तो टोटल एंटायर पार्लियामेंट में जो है ना इशू तो है. ये तो बहुत सीरियस इशू है. आज के दिन में तो उसको वो जूता के अंदर जो है ना कुछ स्मोक का कुछ लेके आया है, वो छोड़ दिया है, मगर वो जो है ना अगर वो ही दूसरा टाइप का वेपन्स भी है.
Would you want the government or the home minister to make a statement regarding this situation as well?
ये तो not only me, आप पूरा जो है ना मोस्ट ऑफ द लीडर्स यही डिमांड किया है. मोस्ट ऑफ द लीडर्स ने यही डिमांड किया है. जो स्पीकर साहब का जो मीटिंग हुआ था, स्पीकर ने बोला ये तो दिस पार्लियामेंट कम्स अंडर मी. हम ऑलरेडी आप लोगों को बता दिया. कल भी जो है ना अभी पूरा डिटेल का साथ जो है ना फिर आने वाले टाइम में जब रिपोर्ट आता है तो हम आपको बता देगा बोल दिया.
Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to NDTV.
Mr. Madhav, what really happened, sir? Can you tell us what did you see? And there was a lot of panic, I understand, amongst the MPs. So, what was the initial reaction?
Some of the panic, some of the very courageous, very much they are try to defend the accused. In meantime, they are both accused coming down. They are try to run towards speaker. We are also try to cast anyhow some other MPs and myself caught hold the accused folding the hands and legs. We are controlling their voice also against the nation, handing over the security personnel.
Mr. Madhav, you've been a circle officer, you've been part of police. So today, did you, get back, get a sign?
That is very much useful today, I think, because of I am dealing all weapons. I am able to defend all weapons if I am having a weapon. That is very much useful. Normally, I am not having any panic. That is very much useful to me to control, to catch the accused.
Right. So, sir, we saw 6-7 MPs run towards these two men. What were they doing? What were they saying? Any idea? And how did you guys manage to overpower them?
They are trying to create some sensation, accused people. Because of they are not having any weapons, danger to the human life. That is I am observing. they are try to draw the attention of nation attention. They are trying, but in meantime, some of the MPs, 4 or 5 MPs, and also myself.
Could you name some of the MPs who tried to defend their colleagues?
Another state MPs, I don't know their name. I'm not having relationship also. I'm not having. I don't know their names.
So, sir, did you see this as a lapse or do you see this as a serious breach of security? What are the learnings for the government and for everybody after this episode?
Police personnel, police people should be updated always because of accused people. Now they are all accused people. They are well educated. They are using scientific methods. Always they are updated, accused people. That's why police also always should update. Today, what I am observing is checking lapses. Definitely, some checking lapses took place. But our India able to protect our integrity, our sovereignty. That much capacity our government is having.
So MPs from all parties flagging concerns on the security of the parliament. Time for a short break. We'll be back with more news and updates.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our continuous coverage here from the, if I can call it the ground zero, because this is where the news is coming in from throughout the day. The focus has been the massive security lapse in the parliament, specifically in the Lok Sabha, inside and outside. I was, Vasudha, we were at the other gate and covering the entire proceedings from there. It is also marked as one of the investigation points for the Delhi police. We have been moved out back to our old joint at the Vijay Chowk, the familiar Vijay Chowk for our viewers. But Vasudha, as a parliament reporter, when this news broke, I just want to understand, was there panic in the MPs? Did many people believe that it was an actual attack that was actually taking place? Yes, there is a security breach, but this was some kind of a statement that these people wanted to make rather than in any sense create that sort of a panic that could, harm people.
Ankit, so today was one day when I didn't go to the parliament because there was a big swearing in happening in Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh, and as political reporters, I wanted that. And tomorrow, it's going to be an interesting day in the parliament because the criminal, laws are going to be sort of discussed.
Yeah.
So it's only coincidental and quite, it's beautifully ironical that this thing happened today, and tomorrow we're going to discuss the security of the country. But when I spoke to MPs about this, they were very clear that when this thing happened, one of them told me, हमें लगा कि कोई गिर गया है नीचे, किसी को चक्कर आ गया था. The last time something like this happened was when the Jharkhand bill on bifurcation was happening. But if you remember, in the old parliament, apparently the galleries were much higher.
Yeah, the height was significant, in fact. And if somebody fell, unfortunately, or jumped from there, that could have caused some injury.
Absolutely.
But that's a lacuna that they have been able to exploit here. The distance between where the viewers sit and the parliamentary proceedings, isn't it?
Absolutely, and there are so many changes that the new parliament design has made. Like if you see that even if you're a visitor authorized by an MP, you get your pass from the reception, but then you have to enter from the Rail Bhavan side.
Right.
So there is a designated entry and exit, and you are ushered in and you're ushered out. So there is like a 45-minute window for you to just go see the parliament and come back. So it is just quite appalling as to how these people got inside into the gallery, which anyway is so restricted.
Absolutely.
And you can't even carry inhalers, you can't carry mobile phones, you can't carry garam pani with flask, and then these guys were inside with their canisters.
And we are just hoping that tough questions need to be asked and answers will possibly come through investigation. But the fact remains, ladies and gentlemen, that this has also exposed one of the huge security breach where a plastic canister went in undetected. Imagine if it was filled with something else. It could have been mayhem in the parliament today. We are at this moment being joined by Mr. Subrat Pathak, a member of parliament from the Bharatiya Janata Party. Mr. Joginder Singh, former IG CRPF, is also with us. Mr. Pathak, I want to start with asking you, sir, as an MP, first of all, how do you see this? Because stringent measures from 2001, and ironically, as Vasudha and I, we were discussing that it is the anniversary of the 2000 Parliament attack. On that very day, after 2001, there were multi-layer security, protocols were changed. Do you see this as a, once again, an awakening call for the apparatus?
नहीं देखो इसको उससे 2001 से जोड़ के नहीं देखा जाना चाहिए क्योंकि ये तो दर्शक दीर्घा में आए थे और जब ये दर्शक दीर्घा में आए थे तो स्वाभाविक है दर्शक दीर्घा में कोई तभी आता है जब उसको कोई सांसद अलाउड करता है और जैसा कि यहाँ से आप सामने भी आ रहा है कि संसद के अनुमति से ही ये इनका पास बना। अब ये पास क्यों बना, कैसे बना और इसके पीछे क्या षड्यंत्र है, आज ही के दिन ये क्यों हुआ, तो ये एक तो जरूर जांच का विषय है और मुझे लगता है कि जिस प्रकार से जांच हो रही सब समझ में आएगा और निश्चित रूप से वो उस समय तो स्थिति बिल्कुल ऐसे लगा था कि
लेकिन आपको लगता है कि प्रताप सिम्हा साहब हैं, भारतीय जनता पार्टी के एमपी हैं, उनका साइन था उन पास पर, तो
नहीं अब ये कई बार
कह रही है उनकी भी इन्वेस्टिगेशन होनी चाहिए, उनसे सवाल जवाब होने चाहिए। और दूसरी बात, क्या आपको लगता है कि अब प्रोटोकॉल चेंज करने का टाइम आया है, एमपीज इस तरीके से लोगों को अंदर भेज पाते हैं?
नहीं बिल्कुल नहीं, देखो इसमें हम बिल्कुल देखो जांच का विषय तो होता ही है और जब इसमें क्या कारण है तो जरूर जांच होनी चाहिए। लेकिन ये कभी कभी होता क्या है, जैसे कई बार ऐसा हुआ कि हम आ रहे हैं तो बाहर कोई सिक्योरिटी वाले खड़े हैं, अपने तो चूंकि संसद की सिक्योरिटी करते हैं, सर हम मुझे घर वालों मेरे घर के लोगों को दिखाना है, सर आप साइन कर दीजिए। एक आध बार तो मुझसे ही कहा तो मेरा भी कोशिश, मैंने एक बार मन हुआ कि लाओ कर दें, लेकिन फिर मैंने तुरंत उसको मन में आया कि नहीं यार बगैर जान पहचान कैसे कर दोगे किसी को, तो हमने साइन नहीं किया। तो आमों में जनरल लोग नहीं करते, लेकिन कुछ लोग हो सकता है भाई किसी के प्यार मोहब्बत में कर दिए हों। अब ये भी आप तो जानते हो आजकल आर्थिक युग है, उन्होंने कहा सर हमें देखने के लिए, तो कोई कहीं किसी के पीएस को कहीं किसी माध्यम से कोई 10-5 हजार रुपया को लेते लिया तो अपना पास बनवा दिया, ये तो सब होता ही जाता होगा। तो कुल मिलाकर ये कोई सबसे बड़ा विषय ये है कि इस तरीके से संसद के भीतर आए, कैसे आए, क्यों आए, किसने भेजा, इसके पीछे क्या षड्यंत्र है, तो ये बड़ा विषय है, इसकी जरूर जांच होनी चाहिए।
सर मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा हमारे साथ बने रहिए। बिफोर आई गो टू मिस्टर जोगिंदर सिंह, वसुधा, वेरी क्विकली आई जस्ट वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम यू, is the MP in any way liable for the people that they sign off for who come as in the visitors gallery? Because that is going to be a big question. Congress already protesting outside Pratap Simha's house in Mysuru.
Of course, I think the political fallout of this issue is also going to be quite serious. But, Ankit, I have seen MPs do this. This is also, the last session before the big 2024 battle. And the last 1 week, it has been quite heartening to see people from different parts of the country come and see the parliament. The government is also trying to showcase this as a project of pride. Right. So this is also, a democratic process. But clearly, MPs have to be careful. But I don't think that there should be a knee-jerk reaction from the government on this. They can't really shut doors to all, to visitors. But clearly, MPs need to be liable. And I think what Mr. Simha has said, that he will actually explain his position to the speaker. He's not speaking to the media as yet. Right. And that is when we'll get to know what he wants to say.
And as Vasudha is saying, at least at this moment, the government has decided till the time they can put on new protocols, no visitors will be allowed. The staff of the current MPs, former MPs will also not be allowed. Mr. Joginder Singh is with us. Mr. Singh, should this be just brushed off as an incident where some people, 4 people wanted to make a statement, sir, with those canisters? Or is this, something which should really shake the entire security apparatus of a building which is possibly one of the most secure building in this country, sir?
See, presently the security in the parliament is near foolproof. It is a multi-agency and multi-layered security. There are various stages of the security. And since different agencies are involved at different places, the chances are very less of any kind of a lapse. But still, since this incident has happened, what I suggest that the checking at the entrance has to be more foolproof. Now, they were able to carry the plastic canister inside the parliament complex. I think that kind of a thing should be avoided. There can be more instrument for checking, body scan and all those things can be there. And secondly, once they have reached the Darshak Digra visitors gallery, I think there is need to be having a glass screen there, because they jumped from there, and there is no way that you can
Right.
stop a person jumping from the visitor gallery to the Parliament House. So these things these steps can be taken, and the security can further be improved. There is always
Very
a scope of
important.
always a scope for improvement in such kind of a system.
Absolutely, you're right. And as they say that, the security apparatus has to be on spot, on the job, 100% of the time. Even if there is a lapse once, these kind of incidents do take place. Also, you want to take a question?
Yes, Mr. Singh, as a reporter who's covering the parliament, I see that there is CRPF, there is of course the QRT, then of course Delhi police, and then the state police, and then you have the SPG also come in. Then there are marshals. So sometimes the security seems really tight, but at the same time, do you think that there is a need to update our systems and technology so that you have less security personnel on ground, but more technology to deal with this in a better way?
No, you are absolutely right. There should be, upgradation of technology. There is absolutely no two opinion about it. But madam, these different agencies are meant for a different purpose. Like the CRPF is for a different purpose. The Parliament security staff for the checking and the screening. So these are the CRPF and paramilitary are there if suppose there is some kind of a armed attack. So the various agencies are in a way check on each other, and they cover various important aspects. Yes, the technology, like there can be more scanning at the gates itself. The person bringing the plastic canister should have been detected at the gates itself. He should not have been allowed to enter into the Parliament complex at all.
Right.
पाठक साहब, मैं आपसे ये समझना चाहता हूँ, ये अब जैसे वसुधा कह रही थी कि एक राजनीतिक फॉल आउट भी होगा, और आप ये तो मान के चलिए कि आने वाले 2-3 दिन पार्लियामेंट में सबसे बड़ा विषय यही होने वाला है, बाकी चीजें अब थोड़ी पीछे रह जाएंगी। ऑपोजिशन ऑलरेडी प्रोटेस्ट कर रही है प्रताप सिम्हा साहब के घर के बाहर। आपको लगता है कि कम से कम ये एक चिंता के साथ साथ आज थोड़ा एम्बैरेस हुई है सरकार, ऑपोजिशन कोशिश करेगी इसको और ज्यादा सरकार के ऊपर अटैक करने की इस मामले को लेकर?
नहीं, देखो, अब इसको कोई सरकार का तो चूक नहीं कह सकते। अब जैसे मानो पहले आतंकवादी आए थे, पाकिस्तान बॉर्डर क्रॉस करके आए, हिंदुस्तान में आकर और फिर अपना साजिश रची, उसके बाद संसद तक पहुंचे, संसद के ऊपर तो वो एक चूक मानी जा सकती थी। लेकिन ये तो मानवीय चूक इसको कहेंगे। कोई व्यक्ति आता है, मानो सबका जूता उतार के तो नहीं देखा जा सकता, तो कि जूते के अंदर अब कोई भाई अगर कोई आरडीएक्स होता, कुछ इस तरीके से विस्फोटक कुछ होता, तो भाई पहचान में आ जाता, पकड़ में आ जाता। तो लेकिन जब वो सब नहीं है तो इसको कोई बहुत बड़ी चूक नहीं कह सकते। हाँ, लेकिन ये थोड़ा मानवीय चूक तो रही है। तो कुल मिलाकर अब ये हमारे सांसद जी से ही माने चूक हुई है। कैसे ऐसे लोगों के पास बन गए, क्या वो उनको जानते थे, क्या थे, किसने बनवाए? तो कुल मिलाकर ये थोड़ा जो कुछ छोटी मोटी चूकें हुई हैं, लेकिन ये कोई इतना बड़ा मुद्दा नहीं है कि इसमें कोई सरकार को परेशान होने की आवश्यकता है।
पाठक साहब, लेकिन आपको लगता नहीं है कि जिस तरीके से ये पूरा मामला अब सामने आया है, जैसे आपने कहा, और सुनने में आ रहा है कि ये लोग कुछ नारेबाजी भी कर रहे थे, तो इस बात की तह तक बहुत जानना जरूरी है कि ये क्यों ऐसा हुआ, और दूसरा सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज ये है कि इतनी आसानी से कैसे पास बन गया और ये लोग अंदर पहुंच गए। गृह मंत्री साहब का बयान मांग रहे हैं ऑपोजिशन के लोग।
नहीं, अब गृह मंत्री जी अभी गृह मंत्री जी पूरी चीज को समझेंगे, और जब उनके पास सारा तभी तो कोई बयान देंगे। वैसे तो कोई बयान नहीं दे सकते। अब कोई इसमें कोई दुर्घटना नहीं हुई, कोई बहुत वो नहीं हुआ, तो इसमें तो कोई ऐसा विषय तो नहीं है कि कोई बहुत बड़ा संकट आ गया हो देश के ऊपर या संसद के ऊपर। तो ये एक था वहां के ऊपर। आप देखो ना, सारे सांसदों ने उसको पकड़ लिया, और उसके बाद में उनको पकड़ के वो सिक्योरिटी ले गई, और कोई ऐसा बड़ा घटना नहीं है। लेकिन हाँ, ये मानवीय चूक है कि जो संसद में इस तरीके से कैसे घुस गए और वो कूद गए ऊपर से। वही काफी ऊंचाई है जहाँ के ऊपर दर्शक बैठते हैं, और वहां से नीचे कूद जाना भी सबके बस की बात नहीं है, लेकिन ये कूद गए। तो ये तो भले कुल मिलाकर सबसे बड़ा विषय ये कतई नहीं है। विषय सबसे बड़ा ये है कि आखिर इसके पीछे कौन लोग हैं, कौन लोग ये संसद की, सरकार की बदनामी कराना चाहते हैं जानबूझ के। उससे कोई उनका एजेंडा सीधा हो रहा है। क्या 3 राज्यों में भारतीय जनता पार्टी के शपथ ग्रहण था, एक अलग माहौल था, पूरे देश में एक अलग मैसेज इन 3 राज्यों की जीत का गया है, जिस प्रकार से प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के भरोसे पर पूरा देश एक बार पूरे साथ उनके खड़ा है, एक मैसेज ये सब गया है, तो उसके बावजूद भी इस प्रकार की एक मतलब हो सकता है कोई पीछे कोई बड़ा षड्यंत्र भी हो। तो कुल मिलाकर ये सब जांच का विषय है और जांच
आप
भी
क्या इसके
होगी,
पीछे राजनीति
उनके
देखते
ऊपर
हैं?
कार्रवाई भी होगी। हो सकता है, देखो अभी कुछ नहीं कहा जा सकता, अभी तो कुछ भी कहना जल्दबाजी होगा, लेकिन आप ये मान के चलो कि जिन्होंने भी अगर ये जानबूझकर सोची समझी रणनीति के तहत यदि इस प्रकार की कोई हरकत की है तो फिर उसको अंजाम भी बहुत उनको भोगना पड़ेगा, और कैसा अंजाम भोगना पड़ेगा उनको समझ में आएगा।
Okay. Mr. Pathak, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Singh, for also sharing your expert opinion on this very important, in fact, issue that we have been discussing since the morning, in fact, the time at 12:30 when this incident started. Vasudha.
Yes, and one interesting thing that happened, Ankit, was when this thing happened, when this incident with this episode of security breach happened, more than the marshals, the visible people, the visible faces were MPs. We could see Hanuman Beniwal, we could see Gurjeet Singh Ojwal and Arvind Sawant, and a couple of other people actually, running after these guys were jumping from, this one person was jumping from one desk to the other, and they successfully apprehended him. So we have Arvind Sawant, former minister and also Shiv Sena MP joining us. अरविंद जी, आज जो पार्लियामेंट में हुआ इसके बारे में थोड़ा सा बताइए। हमने विजुअल्स में देखा कि आप प्रेजेंट थे, एंड व्हाइल यू वर प्रेजेंट यू वर आल्सो वन ऑफ दोस पीपल हु वर सीन ensuring that this man was apprehended, this intruder was apprehended. So tell us what really happened in the parliament today, sir.
To be frank enough, let me accept that I was not the person to apprehend him. I was a little bit away, but I was in the house. I don't want to take that credit, because those who really very close to him, because I was far away. I was near the chair, you can say. I was sitting with the Honorable Minister, Shri Ashwini ji and Mansukh Mandviya ji. And as I was talking to them, I could see what is happening, because my neck was on the other side, my sight was towards the gallery. And I saw the guy stood first and then jumped. And for a moment he hung to the bars. And then he jumped down. The other one followed him. And once he jumped down, he started jumping from one bench to another. He was moving towards the chair, you can see. He was coming inside the house. And somehow those member of parliaments were sitting close to that area. They immediately rushed to that. They tried to gherao him, in fact. They gherao him. But then he could not manage to come out. He came to know that he will not be able to move away now, because he is already get out. And finally, the member of parliament caught him. But after catching, you can see, after a minute, a smoke came, a colored smoke came. And that was the situation, that was the point which was alarming than jumping inside the parliament itself. Because how come he entered into the parliament gallery, then he jumped inside, and that smoke, where from the smoke emanated, what was the source of emanation of a smoke? That source was high, it must be within his shoes, because he removed the shoes. He removed the shoes and was trying to escape. He then finally came into the passage, passage between the sittings arrangement. And in that passage he was caught, the smoke started coming. And that was furious. Had that smoke would have been a poisonous one, hazardous one, it would have resulted in very dangerous situation today. And this really, I feel sorry that today was the day of anniversary of that attack, which was done on the very date, 13th of December 2001. And 2001, when the militants, you can say, that extremist terrorists attacked our parliament. But somehow the security of the parliament, the staff of the parliament, the Jawans who protected the parliament got succeed. And some of them sacrificed their life. And therefore we paid homage in the morning. And then, they could protect the house. They did not allow them to enter into the house. Today it is the other way. These guys have entered into the house, jumped into the house itself. That was really serious lapse on the part of security.
So, Mr. Sawant, all of this happening in the chamber, the main seating area of the Lok Sabha is quite shocking. But you've been part of the government, you've been part of the administration. Tell us, what are the major learnings for the government and for all of us to ensure that the security of the parliament is not compromised in future?
Now, see, I am not the expert of securities, but I can give a simple thing. It starts with us only, because when we recommend certain people, we are the people, signatories of the passes to be issued by the parliament. So that comes right from us only. We should recommend the people who are entering the parliament. We should see that they are sincere and they will not breach the rules, regulations given by the parliament. Secondly, the metal detector is there, and they must be knowing that the powder form or a liquid form, whichever they carried in their shoes or somewhere, that cannot be traced out by the metal detector, and that is what they could escape inside. You can't ask, it's okay, remedy cannot be so dangerous that tomorrow you may ask, remove the chappals and come inside, remove the shoes and come. That's mockery of the security. We should not go for that. What we should say, how to protect it, how to prevent it also. How to prevent it, the measures have to be taken by the experts' advice. But I think this is a sense of responsibility lies with us also. Everybody is there. Now that security, when after sitting on the visitors gallery, there again, I do remember when I used to come before becoming the member of parliament, we were sitting, they used to watch us. A little bit of movement of the legs also, they used to come and sit properly. Don't move. That observation was not there, I think. That alertness was not there. And that is the reason everybody is only the joyous mood. I don't think new parliament, every day, I don't think. There's some lethargy. Because how come he stood for a moment, but after standing, that fraction of seconds you can say, he did not immediately jump. The other one still was there. First, he alone came inside. The other one came upset that the guys who was the security people who were there in the block, where were they? The second person jumped inside.
All right, that is Mr. Arvind Sawant. So thank you for speaking to us here on NDTV. But Vasudha, an important day. And yes, it may not be right to, in fact, compare it to 2001. But having said that, it's happening 22 years, exactly on the very same day, does bring out those very dark memories. And a reminder that no system is foolproof. We are hoping that important questions like the motive, why they wanted to do it, was it just a political statement that they wanted to make? Was it something else? Who was behind this, in fact, entire conspiracy? All that is now part of investigation. And of course, tough questions as far as the government and the security system of parliament is concerned, isn't it?
Of course, Ankit. And I think more importantly, there are symbolic value. There is a lot of symbolic value to the session because it's the last session before the big battle of Lok Sabha 2024 and also the first full session in the new parliament. And I remember Prime Minister Narendra Modi saying this on the first day of the winter session that there will be certain challenges. It's a new building, so come give me feedback on the things that we can improve. So I think this should just be a learning for all of us and for the government and for the opposition. And today it was such a beautiful sight to see Sonia Gandhi, Derek O'Brien and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Amit Shah paying tributes to the families of those people who were killed in the parliament attack. So I think we should, there needs to be something beyond politics also.
Absolutely. I mean, there should be something beyond politics, hopefully some lessons learned. This is not the kind of feedback that the Prime Minister would be hoping for when it comes to the security of the parliament. But the fact remains, knowing at least and seeing the politics of this country next few days and at least a couple of days of this parliament session, the focal point is going to be what happened today in the parliament between 12 and 1. NDTV will give you a 360-degree view of what happens tomorrow in the session. Stay tuned. Thank you so much. That's a wrap from my colleague Vasudha and I from Vijay Chowk. News and updates continue on NDTV.